I click the links to join my channel here over at subscribe. Sorry, I got a mailbox. Want to mail me some comics, but none of this new stuff because it all sucks donkey balls. So Comicstorian is losing money because basically because so much cringe. I saw this article and I was wondering, how does a YouTube channel lose money? Because I was doing it through my framework of an $80 cell phone and a Kindle, and then I realized, well, yeah, most channels are bigger than this. The big channels actually have a staff, and this guy's got like 3 million subs, so it's kind of the level of a small TV channel and network. He actually has a production crew working on his videos, and now for a bunch of reasons the channel is losing money even with 3 million subs, which you must have. I mean, like, even with 3 million subs, I look at it like, do you really need a staff for 3 million subs? So he covers comic related pop culture, which has been dying for a long time, but also the whole Wolf flu thing did slow things down. But to be fair, it's kind of a perfect storm. It's really the content that sucks. Comic books are woke, anti-male, anti-white, anti-Christian when they have the opportunity to be. They're anti-everything based and Chad-pilled. Anything that's fun, there's going to be some feminist chick involved somewhere who's just telling you why you can't have it. It's like, well, why don't you just fire the feminist chick? And you look at you like, the needle scratch. And the movies are the same way. People are losing interest in the entire genre, the comic genre, which you think you should be printing money if you have access. It's like I look at Disney with all the properties they own, from Indiana Jones to Pirates of the Caribbean to the entire or most of the Marvel universe to a lot of the Star Wars universe. And you go, it's weird that you guys are making movies that are bombing. Then you look at the movies like, this is all just like feminist bullshit, Frankfurt School nonsense. Can you stop with the diversity? Again, they look at you like, you're demon from hell, or I guess in their case, you'd be an angel from heaven. And the Marvels with Brie Larson is a great example. The story's about 3 diverse affirmative action Mary Sues who fight another Mary Sue. I guess that's the only thing that threw me for a loop a little bit, is that the bad chick was actually a Poxwalks herself, instead of making him a blonde-haired, blue-eyed, some kind of Trump clone. And the audience pretends to care about women in male roles. I talked to soy people online about this, about the Marvels, and they call me misogynist for saying how stupid, all this diversity and girl power type of stuff is. But that doesn't mean anything. Men aren't women. And I know that's a difficult challenge for the left wing, who literally cannot define either one of those terms. And you say that, and you go, you guys have one joke. You go, it's still funny because you never actually will define those words because you're terrified of upsetting your puppet masters. Yikes, my guy. Bad take. Yeah, that's the social media pressure from your own group of people. Anyway, you can ad hominem all you want, but people still don't see these stupid movies because girl power is cringe. Calling people istophobic doesn't actually sell tickets. They make diverse movies, but people hate diversity. Not everyone is honest enough to tell you they hate diversity. Obviously, I am, and I have a good time doing it. They made these girl power movies, and people are tired of girl power movies, and then they get mad at the messenger who's calling it out. You can't have a channel talking about a topic that the audience has no interest in. Maybe the comic channels are kind of the canary in the coal mine for the comic book genre, where the underlying source material that inspires movies and games has to be good, and they're just all this woke bullshit propaganda. Now, the games are in a different story because the characters are fungible. They're just, skins that you could overlay. If you took a Spider-Man game and you just changed the name and the colors of the thing, it's like fundamentally it wouldn't matter. People don't care about it. It's just a first-person perspective type of game, I assume, for most of those kind of games. And even diversity in comics was part of and created the wave that was, I think, in 2015. Then Comicsgate kind of went on into entertainment based on live streams and selling comics in the background, which turned out to be very lucrative. And for some OCD reason, Mr. Myers didn't want to do live streams or whatever. He's his own. All the respect in the world for him for starting Comicsgate or getting the ball rolling on it, but he's very much his own person. But the thing with comics channels is people started to explain how anti-white and stupid comics were, but then it wasn't like comics were going to change. That was just the direction of comics. Their goal was to push globalist propaganda. There was nothing. It's like what's the intermittent chicken experiment where you have a You have like a gumball machine type of device set up where the chicken can peck at it, and it gets it 100% of the time. It'll peck and get the treat. And if it gets it none of the time, it won't peck and get the treat. But there's a level of how many times the machine has to return a treat, the intermittent reward system for the chicken to get the treat. But with comics, you realize, oh, well, there's never anything good. It's all just this kind of, oh, hey, blue and green-eyed person is bad again. And if I see a cover with dark hair and light hair, I can tell you who the protagonists and antagonists are because the correlation is about 99%. So the thing is, you can make videos pointing all this stuff out, but YouTube gets more woke and stricter every year, so you can't really get deep into what's going on. If you've been following YouTube over the past, I don't know, 5 to 10 years, you probably didn't even notice it because they slowly boil the frog where the content just gets more and more careful. Even big channels that are in the Phantom Menace Comicsgate area, channels disappear and channels get more careful. And you'll hear big live streaming channels. The people all know what not to say, and they know if they're getting in an area, they'll just go, "Oh yeah, we better get away from this," because the masters, because it's a job for people, but it's at the beck and call of somebody at Google just goes, "Oh, we got to get rid of this channel. They're problematic. They're making fun of Star Wars," and that's a dog whistle. And it's like, so I mean, you're saying so Star Wars is propaganda. That's why, like, Star Wars in itself is, I guess, a dog whistle for the left, but criticizing it is a dog whistle for the right. Because they know comics and movies and streaming shows are nothing more than propaganda. So when you criticize them, yeah, you're criticizing the left wing. It's why I was walking the other day, I was thinking about YouTube used to have all these channels that made fun of SJWs, and almost all of them are gone. YouTube created some rules that go, well, it's reuse content, so we're going to get rid of that. It's like, except that's allowed legally, but they don't want, after Trump, they didn't want people making fun of the left because you're making fun of SJWs, so you're making fun of the left's ideology, you're making fun of the useful idiots of the left. So YouTube just got rid of all those channels. After Trump got elected, YouTube cracked down on a ton of right-wing channels. So the ones that are remaining, well, there's just not much remaining on YouTube. But like YouTube wants to go in the direction of pretty girls unboxing things or doing makeup tutorials. What's that girl's name? The Sniper Wolf type of channel where it's just like every 7 seconds it cuts away. It's just a kind of nonsense for kids type of stuff. But the white pill is that there is an alternative community growing on, it kind of looks like, who's that guy's name? The Roque Khmer guy from Canada who covers like the Canadian news type of stuff. Anyway, and once you understand that this is what comics are, and they're not going to change, and what's the point of making videos about comics? Yes, comics are misandrous. They're anti-white, racist, hate propaganda in almost every single one. That's not going to change, and it's a challenge to talk about it because you got to get around the Google goodthink censors who don't want you pointing out what the Bolshevik plots and schemes. But for channels like Comicstorians, he's not just a guy with a cell phone. He has a studio where Diversity in Comics, your boy Zach, has a cell phone. It might be a really expensive one, but it's like, $1,500 invested in a phone, but it's pretty cheap for him to make videos holding a cell phone and a comic book, where Comicstorian has editors and thumbnail people. I have a thumbnail person. I have Rollo. He makes Odyssey and BitChute thumbnails occasionally, but he does them for free. It's kind of volunteer, so it's a whole different scale with a couple thousand followers versus a few million followers. So anyway, yeah, Wu Flu caused a slowdown. Remember the pencils down moment when comics, they got the call to stop making comics because they were not able to sell them in the stores for some reason. I guess people kind of went crazy. Like, isn't that just cold and flu season? No. It's like, I got to be careful talking about this. But it seems like people really lost their minds over that whole thing. I didn't lose my mind. I didn't do anything out of the ordinary, if you know what I'm saying. Hashtag pure blood. Anyway, Comicsgate just kept on selling comics because they weren't like, they were doing the stuff online. And it's funny because some of the people in the mainstream, I think Gail Simone and a couple others, they tried to segue into making YouTube videos, and they realized like, oh, we're not really good at making YouTube videos because, I mean, it involves a lot of work and there's a big lead in time. But the thing is, left-wing people, the Gail Simones of the world, and there's a couple others who started YouTube channels and, quickly abandoned them. It's that they're not free to talk about things, and that, like, they don't realize that They, in their minds, they think they're raging against the machine and they're fighting the powers. But when they get online, all they're saying is what every corporate mainstream media company, every mainstream infrastructure supports. Bank of America supports what the Mags Visaggio, Gail Simone, and all Heather Antos is saying. They're supported by every big tech company. They're supported by the machine, and that's why nobody's listening to them. They get on YouTube or Twitter and they go, oh, someone's anonymous over here. It's like, if you back up your words, and then you look at these people say this, go, the reason you can put your name and face on your Twitter account, the reason you have 500 followers after 10 years is and no interaction whatsoever, because you're not saying anything that's interesting. You're not speaking truth to power. You're a left-wing shill who's just saying what all the other left-wingers are agreeing with. The only people that are saying anything real are these anonymous right-wing accounts on Twitter, because they're the ones who are catching fire. They're over target. Anyway, it wasn't really the Wu flu that screwed everything up. It was Trump derangement syndrome in 2016, and then the BLM riots in 2020. After that, comic books and movies doubled down on their woke feminist bullshit nonsense. So comics never bounced back because the source material just got worse. Even the movies that came out during that period were unwatchable. Remember, probably not, because you might not have seen it, Wonder Woman 84, it was like 3 hours of just absolute crap, which I've actually seen a few times because it's such a great example where the passive-aggressive stuff against blonde people, the anti-white stuff, in that movie, it's a really good example of Alinsky-level good think. So you had Wonder Woman 84, where everyone was non-white except the bad guys who were all blonde. I think in the opening scene of that movie, it's like it's supposed to be Greek people who are in South America. Diane the Hunter from the story, or whatever, but it's all one tribe of people, and you go, oh, there's Chinese, Sub-Saharan Africans, from the Indian continent, Europeans, and they're all one tribe of people? I can't say the R word. That's really dumb. That really kind of takes the only suspension of disbelief and just throws it out the window. God, that movie was stupid. Then everyone bad in the movie was blonde hair, to the point where you had to take one of the actors who was Latin American, and you had to dye his hair blonde. So they were telling you who you should hate. Who do you focus all your hatred on? Focus it on the blondes. That's a weird movie. Then Shang-Chi came out, Snake Eyes, Black Widow with what's her face, not Black Panther, Black Adam, I think, with The Rock. Shazam, the sequel, The Eternals, Suicide Squad Part 2, and then the last one I think was the Marvels. I might have skipped a few, but everything was just woke cancer. And if that's all Hollywood has to offer, then who cares? There's no excitement in the movies or comic books because the people who create them didn't understand the source material, and they actually hate the audience if they're of European origin. Comic books and movies have gay, diverse, girl power characters, but the audience doesn't want that, but they keep making it. So yeah, eventually you're going to run out of money with that business model. We're going to try to sell the customer what they don't want. How's that working out for you? Oh, Tyler Durden. Not working out too well. So the Marvels was just a peak example. It was diverse vagina, and women didn't go watch it. Oh, how come women didn't go watch Charlie's Angels, Elizabeth Banks? Because it's men's fault for not dragging the women because women don't have agency. Yeah, I know that, but I'm surprised to hear women saying that. So stop with diversity and girl power. You're trying to sell it to an audience that doesn't exist. Or you're trying to create an audience, a diverse girl power audience. By all means, keep double. I don't give a shit about these comics or movies. I hope they all go. I hope they keep burning money and ultimately go out of business. I think in the next 5 to 10 years, you're going to see a massive restructuring in entertainment in general, and specifically with Disney and these with Hollywood in general, and comics for sure. I mean, they have to keep the IPs alive, so they have to keep the comics out there. But I mean, movies don't have to be around forever. People went from like in-person entertainment and vaudeville type of stuff, small scale stage plays, to silent movies, to the talkies, to the big screen, and then it seems like, well, big screen doesn't have to be the end of it. Things can transition away from that into something else also. People to think what is now is going to be in the future, and it's like, was it Heraclides? The only constant is change. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, join the subscribe star, and I'll see you guys all next episode.